Yo, holding that up next to you, that is insane how much
Bro,
that is.
look at that. Like, that's wild, bro. But the crazy story is like, amazing person.
That's awesome. Unprompted too, of like just showing love. And we're off, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a nice little minute since we've had a guest host. Our last guest host was an absolute banger. It was back in the preseason. Like, the person that came before you was actually Xavier Smith, bro. I don't know if you knew that, but that was my last guest, was Xavier. Yeah, back in preseason before this whole season kicked off. But ladies and gentlemen, Ty Giovani, at Ty the Italian on Instagram. Make sure you give him a follow. He's our guest host. The reason he's on today, if you missed everything that happened right before the game that got shipped out to Arizona for the wild card against Minnesota, this man worked with Kelly Stafford, the wife of our quarterback, Matthew Stafford, to get a handful of buses, get Los Angeles fans out to Arizona. Man, incredible. Bravo to you, sir. Thank you for doing work.
It took everybody. It was a lot, but it took a lot of the rambling. We had to show up and show out.
Man, before we get into everything, I like to start off, like, I know you're LA native. I want to make sure we're starting off getting the nerves out before the interview. I'm going to hit you hard, man. Hard-hitting question.
Let's go.
I don't like getting political usually, but I'm gonna force it on you. Top 5 food spots in LA. What do you got?
Woo! As an Italian? Okay, well, that's a good question. As an Italian, if you want, like, I'll give you the number one, in my opinion, for, like, top Italian, as close as authentic as it can get. El Pastaio, Beverly Hills. But that's, like, high-end luxury. So, if you guys are on some type of, like, budget, I don't recommend going there because it is expensive. It is an expensive place. But that's if you really want authentic Italian in LA.
My girlfriend's birthday is next month, so I'm taking note. Trust me.
Hey, El Pastaio is great. I mean, there's a lot of great restaurants. We live in a great county where you have so much food and diversity. So I feel like that's the one great thing about being from LA County or living in LA County is the food. Like,
okay,
it's not just Italian. There's Mexican, Italian, Chinese, like whatever people prefer.
Hit me with your other 4. So you went
I got really
straight for number 1. What you got?
So let's mix it up. No more Italian. For Mexican, that gets tricky though because there's a lot of good Mexican food, and I don't want to leave anything out.
I might hit you on this one. What you got for me?
Okay. Well, in the Valley. In the Valley areas, I'd say like Sol and Luna is really good. It's a really good spot. It's not super expensive. If you want more authentic Mexican, I always tell people like that Placita Alvera out in downtown because it's, and it's all really good tacos. Like really good tacos, like authentic.
Okay.
But I can't say that too much because all my friends that are Hispanic are probably going to go off. I'm like, hey, there's so many other good places. I know.
You'll never make everyone right. Because right now, I'm thinking ain't nothing better than Tacos Al Cabron in East LA.
I gotta try that.
It's just a comida that's popped up on the side of the street, but bro, there's always a line like crazy. And then when Xavier was on here, Brother Cousins Tacos, I've seen their Instagram. He swears by them, but Florida guy, he's getting used to LA food.
Another place. Well, we're using my phone, so I can't really. I think it's called Villa's Tacos or Villa. They won the best tacos in LA, I think, 2 years in a row.
Okay.
I'm going to have to give you the info later to maybe post about it. I just can't remember the full name, but 2 years in a row, best tacos in LA. So.
All right, but we'll give a big shout out. What was the Italian spot one more time?
El Pastaio. It's in Beverly Hills, California.
All right, El Pastaio. So you heard it here. El Pastaio sponsor us. That's what we need.
And also, for those that love, encountering celebrities, that's the place to go. You're always going to sit around a celebrity while you're eating out there. And there's no reservation. It's first come, first served. But you'll see the Rolls Royces, the Bent. You kind of get the idea of the food it is. Like
true Beverly Hills experience. Well, all of Hollywood watches my show, so now they're pissed off at you for spoiling that. But thank you for indulging me. I like to hit everybody with that. Let's jump into it, man. Obviously, huge Los Angeles Rams fan. Obviously, you're going through the work to get fans organized. I see all the stuff behind you. We can talk about the memorabilia later, but I want to like jump into like real quickly the sequence of events that happened because you just started working with Kelly Stafford directly. Like it was all over Instagram. Everyone's seeing your messages, your texts with Kelly, and obviously we've known. I know a lot of Detroit fans know. Super big heart. The Stafford family is phenomenal for the work they do in the community. This is not the first time she's worked with the community here in Los Angeles, especially with fans directly. How did that come about for you, man? Like, break it down. Like, that's dope.
I mean, it was crazy because everyone shoots their shot, right? At some point, like, hey, let me message this celebrity and see if they'll either reply or reach out. Well, it all started with Baldy, Robert. He posted.
Tio Roberto!
Right? He posted something saying that the Rams should do what the Vikings did, which was like, whatever it had to do with the ticketing and like pricing and stuff like that. Something like that. Yeah. I don't know too much about the Viking side, but he posted that. So I was like, you know what? Let me repost it. Let me add Kelly into the post. Let me add a few other names. And I believe I added the Rams too. I know I added Kelly. I don't remember exactly who, but Kelly replied. And when I saw the message, I was like, no fucking way. Kelly Stafford replied while going through a lot. It's not a lot of us in LA are going through a lot. The people that lost their homes, lives. You got to imagine she's trying to balance that.
Kids. For people like not familiar or just like never on social media, like at the time this is happening, this is still with zero containment or I think very minimal containment in the Palisades and impacting where they are. And she's one of the players' families that had to evacuate just to be safe. And another one of their daughters was sick, like was throwing up during the Minnesota game, at the game throwing up. So, and for parents watching, like, hey, go run the target with one kid. I'm sure it's super fun, let alone 4 kids. So, just more backdrop for them.
A lot of credit for that. She's an amazing mom to them, and you could tell, like, of course, when you have kids, you understand your kids are everything to you. I have a son, but she has 4 girls, so it's a whole different world, and she's a mom. That's a business lady, deals with a quarterback husband that is, in my opinion, the best quarterback in the NFL. People are going to say Patrick Mahomes. That's something I like. Yes, Patrick Mahomes is great, but that's another conversation.
Well, that's for later. We got it. I got you.
But yeah, like you got to think she was dealing with evacuations. She's dealing with her sick kids, going to the hospital, and then having to leave LA and evacuate with most of the Rams players, families, and even pets, which is crazy. Like, but that's amazing. So shout out to Arizona Cardinals organization for all that, because without them, this wouldn't be possible for a lot of the players and the families.
Yeah, no kidding.
But yeah, so you got to imagine she's balancing a busy life schedule, and then she's over here telling me, like, replying to the message, I will, you take care of the coordinating, the organize everything, and I'll make the payment. And in my head, I'm like, oh, God, that could be really awesome, but, like, it could be chaotic.
And I almost stopped because I was just going to say, my whole thought process while this was happening, my first thought is, like, it's one thing for her to say yes, but now she's calling your bluff. And, like, I'm like, man, if I had the money, I would rather spend the dough, because now you're on the spot. Like, all right, you call me out, do it then.
I gotta do it. Like, I gotta do it.
How'd you feel? Did you have an oh shit moment? You're like, fuck.
Well, because look, for my background, most of the time in my life, I've been a private chauffeur. So sometimes that means you're dealing and coordinating with a lot of clients and families, but nothing like this where you're coordinating one bus of 54 passengers that turns into 3 buses from her side with over 150 passengers while you're getting thousands of messages of people trying to join. And at that point, I was like, you know what? This is going to be awesome, but I know it's going to be hell trying to get it all going, because literally dealing with people all day and night. That's how it was. Literally talking to people, getting on the list.
And it's not just that. It's football fans. Like, it's nothing specific to Rams fans. We have a lot of people that want to go, people that, scrambling because they bought tickets here. Now they're trying to get tickets there. I can't get a hotel, can't rent a van. So you're in the middle trying to sort through everyone else's chaos, let alone people are still evacuating, probably like just adding to the mess. And
from everywhere. Like, you have evacuations everywhere.
I got to give you credit. I had not seen one person complain that wasn't chosen, at least not publicly and openly. I know somebody tried getting at Kevin for their side with the season ticket members, but however you went through it, it's a tough spot. You're trying to pick 150 people to go out of
1,000 plus messages. It's like you can't please everybody, but you're trying to to make it fair with like booster club members, non-season members, season members, just random Rams fans, all buses Rams fans. I even had people that are married to 49er, wives or husbands saying, "Hey," I'm like, "Sorry, but no, this is a Rams thing, and I'm sorry, I don't want to seem like an asshole, but you cannot join this. Sorry, take a
Hey,
flight.
no.
See you
Well,
there."
there's no rule book for how you were supposed to go about it. You did the best you can, and from what I've seen on the posts, it looked like a party. I'm
Oh.
sure every single bus was the same way. So let's talk about the game itself. I don't want to. I know we're getting ready, geared up for Philly,
Oh
but
wait,
talk to me
before
about.
we get
Yeah,
into that, I do want to
yeah,
shout out all the Ramley, everyone that helped. Of course, Robert Teal, Robert Arbaldi, Terry, Katrina, Rams Chula. They all try to help at the end of the day, with the list, getting people on board because they knew I was already going through hell those 3 days. It was like I
yeah.
already lost my mind by the day of the game. But I was so happy when we were on board on our way to Arizona. I was like, it's almost done with just the coordination part. Now we just gotta enjoy the game, the tailgate, and the vibes, and it was amazing. No, I can't lie.
That's
Shout
awesome,
out to
man.
all the Ramley. I don't want to leave anyone out. There's names that I'm leaving out, but everybody that helped, I do want to say thank you.
Yeah, don't get mad at Ty. He's trying to
No.
remember everybody. He's still
Yeah,
catching up on sleep.
Fuck. I still need some. I think I need tonight. Well,
So every like diehard fan has either a memorabilia that's crazy important to them or like just their favorite piece. You were telling me over the phone about you had an experience with a player, and I don't want you to have to divulge too many secrets, but I know you had a conversation with somebody on the offense. Holler at me, man. Tell me the story. It was actually pretty dope.
Woo. Well, story goes like sometimes I'll do deliveries. And I was killing some time. I did a delivery that day, and a year ago I did the same delivery to the same O-line player, Alaric Jackson, and he remembered me. Of course, the first time there was no gift or anything. It was just I told him how big of a Rams fan I am and how big of a supporter I am towards him because he's been great protecting Stafford on his end. And I guess this time, the second time a year later, he remembered the conversation because I messaged him before going to his house, like, "Hey, I delivered something to you a year ago. I don't know if you remember me, but I'm a big Rams fan and a big supporter of yourself." And it was cool. He was like, "Hey, I appreciate that. Let's get this W." And this was before we were going to go to the first playoff game against the Vikings. So, and what happened? I pretty much deliver something to his house. I go upstairs and it's his wife. His wife opens the door and blesses me with his game worn jersey.
Dude, that's
Like
so sick.
it is, and it's crazy because I need to. You still have the stains on it, the sweat, the snot. Like how much more real can it get than that as a game worn jersey? And it's huge, but I want to frame it, but I
It's
also
like a
somehow
six
want to.
X.
It's fucking huge, bro. It's like a dress for a dude or something, or a chick or whatever. But this
Yo,
is,
holding that up next to you, that is insane how large that
bro.
is.
Look at that. Like that's wild, bro. But the crazy story is like, amazing person.
That's awesome. Unprompted too, of like just showing love. Like those things are so like after like like a game worn helmet, that is as personal as it gets. Because like think about what gets asked a million times between players after a game. Like, hey, do you want to swap jerseys? That goes anytime a player has a podcast that's behind them. Those are
Yep.
right, like because that's one of one. What jersey did he wear in that game? That's one of one.
And that jersey is from the Seahawks game. So it was the last game of the season when he
That's
played.
so good.
So you can tell it's definitely worn. You got stains all over that thing. So it's in the front, the back, and you see the dirt and then the certain things that are ripped from, falling on the ground, whatever, or blocking, or when people are holding you, the D line's holding you or whatever,
1,000%.
trying to get
Yeah.
through. But I did want to say I do appreciate for that because that was the coolest thing anyone's ever done, like a player wise, because I didn't ask him for anything. I just said, I'm a big fan and I'm can't wait. He just pretty much said, let's get this W. That's what he said. But when you show up to his house and his wife gives you that jersey, I kept telling her, like, thank you. And, I'm sorry, but I don't know what to say. Like, I'm
Yeah,
shocked.
like what do you
Like,
say of like, hey,
I,
thank you for like the greatest gift ever,
That's
for to a
awesome. And
stranger.
it's,
Like,
like they didn't have to do that. But I'm sure that he messaged her, like, because he probably wasn't home. He didn't open the door, but he probably said, "Hey, this is, he's a big fan. Remember him, give him whatever." And that's the
That's
cool part.
incredible.
So I do
That's
appreciate him
incredible.
for that. So Alaric Jackson, shout out to you for being a real one.
Hey, Alec, have you seen this man? Hey, hook this man up, sign it so you can frame it.
That's what I.
Get
Hey,
that signed.
I will come get it signed and I will frame it that same day. So let's get it
No,
going.
that honestly, you don't know anything at all. The fact that he even said hello is awesome because I know those guys get bombarded by fans, but the fact that he remembered you, took time. I like to think that good
It's.
things happen to good people, man. So
I
that's
appreciate
just
it.
sick. That's just sick,
It
man.
was
Thanks for
awesome.
sharing.
Thank you.
But then now you get to Arizona, right? Like for those of us that weren't there, that didn't get a chance to really see too much behind the scenes. You had a chance to be part of, like, literally, like, part of not just Rams fan, like, huge moment. This game and this win, I'm going to argue with anybody that this is potentially like a top 3, top 5 win in the McVay era. And now you guys kind of get to etch your fan names in stone too. Like, how was the atmosphere at the game? Like, talk about being part of that moment in Arizona, bro.
Oh man, as soon as we got there, the vibes are amazing. You know, get off the bus charters, and at that point where the buses were, it was with the other buses as well. All the other Rams from the Kevin Demoff side that the Rams deal with, and then ours.
Rolling
and,
deep.
Bro, media already there, media popping up in the tailgates because they know it's a big thing. Like you have people from LA coming to Arizona during a fire in evacuations
For a home game. Yeah.
For a home game.
Yeah.
The turnout, amazing. I'm not gonna lie, I think it was about 51% Vikings, 49% Rams. But at some point, I mean that's fair. At the end of the day, it's in another state in another stadium. So you know, it is what it is.
Neutral site, hey, best team wins.
But you can feel like all on our Rams side, you can see all the Rams fans. It felt so cool. Like when you go to SoFi, it's all scattered around. You know, you'll see a lot. If it's a big opponent like the Whiners, I don't want anyone to get mad at me, but the Whiners, you know, they show up and show out, but you can see them scattered and you see some blue. Here it was literally like all on one side Rams, the other side mostly Vikings. You'll see some Vikings scattered in, but I like that.
I know,
it's kind
I
of
know what you're talking about with, especially here in SoFi. Like, obviously, clearly, this game proves like that thing about Rams not having fans is stupid and dead. But I went to I went to 2 games this year that had like some of the biggest fan bases, and I got to give them a lot of credit. The Cheeseheads, and then the Eagles. I don't know what they call themselves. I'm sorry, but those teams travel super well, and it was loud as hell in SoFi both those games. So I do gotta give them credit.
I mean, and you know, so it makes sense. A lot of those teams have big supporters all over the world, and it is what it is. But the Rams will get there at one point. It's like we've moved around, so people kind of felt offended when the Rams left. And it's like, come on, if you love a team, you love them no matter where they go.
And it's Cali, like, man, we got a lot to do out here in Cali. Like, we're busy people.
There's a lot going on in Cali. It's like you said, a lot of people are busy, so. You know, but at the end of the day, the vibes once again were really great. The tailgating vibes, the Arizona, you know, fans that hosted us, and it just felt like it was a great atmosphere, especially when you're inside and watching the actual game and seeing what Matthew Stafford can do, like he always does. People just don't give him the credit he deserves. And, you know, there's a lot, but the energy levels are high, and especially the way we start off that first half. Blew my mind. I was like,
ridiculous. That was one of the best, like, on all sides of the ball. Like, that was one of the best halves I've seen the Rams play in a long time.
Special teams, defense, like literally all sides of the ball. That's a full on game. Yes, the second half we didn't score as much, but the defense was defending the way they've been doing.
Yeah, so, and anytime you can get six sacks and a half, that's just. I was just in downtown LA at a Buffalo Wild Wings with one of the booster clubs, and it was just incredible. Like, it was loud. I felt like I was in a stadium at that place. Like, it was incredible.
I'm sure everybody was going. I think it's the one that the downtown LA Rams host, right?
Yep. I was at that one.
Yeah. Oh, the vibes are always good with them. All these booster clubs, amazing vibes. So I'm sure it went crazy in there. I'm sure it did. But
dude, it was sick.
Now it's just, you know, going to Philadelphia.
So as of right now, no buses to Philly, so you're in luck. But as all diehard fans are, like we've spoken off camera, and you're a big like student of the game. Like there's a lot of casual fans that just you know things, but there's a lot of people who are like nerdy about football, and you and I are both one of them. So I kind of want to jump into Eagles. Let's just talk, man.
Let's go.
Big tough matchup. Obviously, we got our asses whooped last time.
Don't
It
remind
was
me.
closer.
Don't
Yeah,
remind
it
me.
was closer than people give it credit for. But then late in that second half, it did get just busted wide open. It's hard to tackle Saquon. He was on an MVP trail, so that's hard to really contain. But I will argue, and a lot of people will too, that the defense has evolved way past that point. It was around that game where they just started coming into form. Still a little bit reckless because the guys are young, like Burst. There's the big highlight of him crashing into, I think it's Mayata, bull rushing him, but then just letting Jalen Hurts escape and evade. The big talking point for me is Vic Fangio, his defense versus Sean McVay's offense. Do you have any thoughts, any concerns? Just talk to me about that matchup because that is key right
Like
there. That matchup right there is
it's
determinant of the game.
and that's gonna be a hard matchup, like it was before. But I feel like, I see a lot of the media saying, "Oh, it's gonna be the Eagles are still gonna blow out the Rams. It's a snow game. It's cold. They're not used to that." Stafford and Matthew Stafford and McVay aren't used to the cold. They don't win in all that kind of stuff that you hear. It's like gets a little annoying. But in my opinion, I mean, you got to change up some stuff. You also do have to use Tutu as a deep threat. You got to start using Tutu more. Like you gotta admit,
Yeah,
I don't know what happened. They didn't, you know what I mean? Like when Tutu does play, he usually catches the ball. And it's not just like a five, it's usually 20 yards, 25, 30, or a
mm-hmm.
deep pass. So, I mean, you're going to have to use Tutu. You're going to have to use your whole team and kind of mix it up because they're expecting you to try to feed Puka, to feed Kyron. Puka went off when we played against the Eagles. He did well. But
Mm-hmm.
we also need Cup. We need Cup to come back alive right now because he's great at blocking. He's a great player, but we need him more than ever right now. We need everybody. And in my opinion, it's Barkley is going to be hard to stop, but there's going to be a lot of changes, and people expect teams to play the same way and use the same formations, and you're going to have to change it up a little bit. Like in my
Yeah.
opinion, you don't want to play the same. This is to go to the NFC Championship and possibly at SoFi, depending if the Commanders can take down the Lions. You know,
Yeah, that's
ah,
I have that topic in about two bullet notes here with that Fangio. So shout out to Jordan Rodriguez. She is, I think, hands down the best writer in the
oh
NFL,
yeah,
and
agreed.
she's the beat writer for the Rams. So we're super blessed there. She did a piece right before the last Eagles game that we played, where she talked about how Vic Fangio or how Belichick changed things up in the Super Bowl in 2019. In those 2 weeks leading up to it, completely changed stuff up, and it really messed with McVay's offense. Vic
Yeah,
Fangio kind of took a page out of that when we played against the Bears at one point. It's a huge rabbit hole she went down, and it's gets your wheels spinning as a football nerd. And you kind of saw a little bit of that the last time we played, where it just seemed like Stafford had nowhere to go.
yeah,
Um, I think the offensive line just plays a lot better because I think Bo Limmer at center is just a lot more in his element. He just seems a lot more comfortable. I think Stafford's more comfortable with him. And I think, tell me what you think. I think Higbee being back is a huge deal because it
very
just
good.
seemed like if Puka wasn't open, Cup just, I don't know if he's nursing an injury or if Father Time's catching up with him. I hope I'm just wrong. But if Puka
Yeah,
wasn't open, he didn't really have a second go-to option underneath to check down
yeah.
to at least pick up some yards. And Higbee is good at that. And hopefully that frees up other guys. So I don't know what you think about that with Cup or
I,
Higbee or anything.
Honestly, it's like I do want to see Cup have a great game. We need that. But it would be great to see everyone have a good to great game because that's what you need in order to win. You can't
No.
just have a few players having a good or okay. You need everyone to have a great game. Just like the Vikings game. Everybody was doing what they had to do. You got to think, 8 different people sacked the quarterback. It's crazy. Like eight
And
different
not verse. Verse
no,
didn't.
but he got the scoop up and return for a touchdown. So
Yeah.
I'll take that. That was beautiful in his little flip. I got up so quick because I saw him running and I wanted to record, but I did not expect he was going to do a flip and I missed the flip and I was like, oh, that would have been awesome. Because who would expect him to do a flip? Like, he's a big guy and he
looking
also
like
took off
looking
a
like
running
Michael
back.
Jordan, Space Jam, stretching out with a rubber
Bro,
band
running,
arm.
it was awesome. But hey, I know he did that for a little bit of clout, but that was beautiful. That was beautiful. I love it.
It's just young dudes having fun, and that's my next point. This defense and versus now versus then, our defense is way improved
Oh yeah,
because I think they're so young that they're not really thinking about any pressure. Like it's literally just, all right, fuck it. Like just show up and ball. And everything else will take care of itself. And I think them being so young as a group is a benefit. Like they don't have to think about past years or pressure or anything like that. You think they got confidence from Minnesota game. Do you think they can pull back a little bit and contain Jalen Hurts? That's what scares me the most. The
They
Jalen Hurts
could.
scramble. That scares the fuck out of me.
I mean, they're gonna have to because if say you do beat the Eagles and you go and possibly play the Commanders, you're gonna have to deal with someone else that can scramble like Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Like you're gonna, of course, Jalen Hurts he's been in the NFL longer, but Jaden Daniels has been pretty damn good for a rookie quarterback, and
Rookie of the
you
year.
know,
1,000%.
in my yeah, and you know,
Yeah.
also like Verse is gonna get that defensive rookie of the year. The Vikings
I
game is
like
probably a little
I
cherry
like
on the
that
top.
matchup. I like that
Bro.
matchup. Two
But
rookies of the year. Yeah.
but I mean, kind of going a little bit back, we do
Yeah.
want Higbee to go off, and just like the Vikings game, Higbee was going off. He was their best receiver until he went out with the injury. He was
Yeah, I think he
playing
caught
pretty
a
damn.
helmet to the chest at one point, or I don't know what the hell
He
happened. That
had,
was
I
weird.
guess, he was bleeding and spitting out blood, so that's why they took him to the hospital. I mean, hey, you got to be
Come
safe.
on, man. Rub some dirt in it, Tyler. Come on, dog.
But like what just seeing him when he came back, it's that energy he brings to the locker room and to the team. It's
A lot of juice.
he's
Yep.
that veteran juice, but to the receiving side, you know, and
Yep.
he's an amazing blocker too. It's not just for the catching and for the scoring. And another thing to kind of go back, what do you think happened with OBJ? We might have I thought we were gonna possibly get him for this little run.
Oh, I know. I saw a lot of people were telling him to come on home. I think McVay is so in his way. Like unless there's a blatant need, like in 2021, I mean Robert Woods getting hurt, so like you need someone. Right
Yeah.
now, no one's hurt. They're comfortable with 1 through 6.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know the first 3, but in the last 3, you've got Tutu Atwell, Tyler Johnson, and Xavier Smith returning.
Yeah.
So I think they're comfortable. Like they're so locked in with their roles. I don't think they want to fuck with it.
And that's what I was thinking. It's like, but he
Yeah,
was a great threat in the red zone. You got to remember that OBJ was always a great threat in the red zone, and that's something that
yeah,
could help us. But of course, we still got Puka, we got Cooper, but we do need Cooper to really come alive because he hasn't been doing much on the receiving side, and
that's
that's
that's a
gonna
good
be
transition.
a crucial part to possibly winning this game, among others. But you need him and Puka to both do really well when it comes to the receiver side. It's going to be cold. It's going to be snowing from what I see. So who
Yeah,
knows? But you're going to need to use Kyron and run him through the walls. Like you need him to
30
run through
carries.
that, run through that defensive line and show them who is really a
So
great running back.
So you mentioning needing Cooper Cup like a legacy game again. I got a tough question for you, and it's an unfair question,
Okay.
but because like I'm having conflicting thoughts on who I think is going to be more critical to this game. So I'm going to put it on you. Would you rather have a Cooper Cup legacy game? Now, mind you, this may be a 30-degree weather game. This
Mhm.
might be snow during the game, snow before, but just cold and just miserable. Would you
Yeah.
rather have a Cooper Cup legacy game or a Welcome to the NFL Joshua Carty perfect legacy game? Like big just onions game where he maybe kicks a game winner. Like which one do you think is more critical to a win
Cardi.
that you'd rather see?
Cardi.
Carty?
Because it comes down to like what the weather is going to be like. If it's really snowing heavy and it's, there's some winds, whatever, you're going to need a clutch kicker. And Cardi's been pretty damn clutch for a while now. Yes, there was a little bit of hiccups, but he's a rookie. People can't put that to the side. He's a rookie. So there's
Thank
going to
you.
be time,
I was saying
like,
that early on. It's like, yo, you gotta go through like let
he's a
him grow.
rookie.
Let him
Yeah.
figure shit out. Thank you.
You have to
Thank you.
screw up to learn. And it's better to learn now than later because people won't really look at you as much during your rookie year compared to other years. Like, of course, if you're not doing well in your rookie year, people aren't gonna hold it against you too much. But nowadays, people kind of do. Like, of course, there's gonna be a lot of rambling. It's like, oh my God, well, we need another kicker. It's like, no, Cardi's good. he also has that little confidence in himself, which I love. You need to have
Hmm.
confidence to be a good kicker. You can't just be like, oh man, I suck. I gotta try. No, I'm better than that, and I'll get it done. Like you need confidence, and you need to push yourself. And honestly, he's been pretty damn good the last like what month now, somewhat
I
from
think heading
the start
into the
was.
playoffs, I think he finished the season like 16-16. I think he only missed one, maybe two extra points in that span, which is, I mean, extra points
And
aren't easy these days. Like, yo,
no, I
that's
mean, look at the kickers
hey,
this year. It's not just him. Look at the
just
veteran kickers that had.
Justin Tucker's missed a bunch.
Well,
Jake
there
Elliott
you go.
hasn't been perfect from deep this year.
The guy from
Look,
the Bengals. What's his name?
look,
I'm
if
blanking.
if Cardi's seen this, hey, bro, the Rams fans, we
We got
support
you,
you.
Cardi.
Don't,
We
yeah,
got you, Cardi.
don't.
LA all day.
There's zero outside noise. Any dummy that's saying we need a new kicker next year just hasn't watched enough
Nah,
football.
nah,
Let's put it at that.
ignore them because they don't understand what a good kicker is. He's a good kicker, and he's gonna become great. This is his rookie year, so we need him. I feel like more than Cup, but it depends on what the weather really plays out during the game. If it's really snowing and it's that bad, and if it's
Yeah.
windy, they're saying rain, snow. So we just gotta really wait till then. But it's gonna be hard to play well in that weather as a quarterback to wide receiver, like for long routes. Realistically,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
the ball being slippery, wet, whatever it is. You can't see. Like I said, it depends how it really comes down to that actual game, like the weather, the day of.
It reminds me that obviously we saw the Niner game this year where like nothing could happen in the air.
That was
But
ugly.
then
That the weather made it
yeah.
ugly.
But then
But that's
I'm looking
weather.
at the Baltimore game last year in Baltimore. Like somehow both quarterbacks were slinging it, and it was horrible weather. I'm like, I wonder what is the difference. But I'm obviously that's above our pay grade. I got
What?
I got I got two more
One more
questions
thing.
for you.
So let's go
Oh,
back
go
to
ahead.
it. So
Go
the
ahead.
Cardi thing for the. So what? To
Oh
you
yeah,
wanted
yeah,
to
yeah.
ask me it, but I want to ask you. So what do you think? Cup or Cardi?
I want Cardi. Like
It makes
I've
more
talked
sense
my
with the weather.
it's because the weather is potentially bad, and because the I have a lot of respect for Philly's defense and offense both.
Oh, they're
Um,
great. I mean, they're great.
the way I see the game playing out is like 24-20, which mathematically just means a lot of field goals.
Hmm.
And if you can keep them out of the red zone and just keep out kicking them, like points are points, take them.
Yeah,
And if Cardi just knocks in, like, say he knocks in 4 or 5 and he's perfect on the day,
yeah.
that potentially could be enough to win the game. Like,
All that matters is winning. It doesn't matter how you win; it's winning. That's the whole point. A lot of
oh
people will get
yeah, look
into
at the
the.
Chiefs.
eh,
Like, I
They've
don't care
had
how
so
we
many
win.
close games with teams that they should have blown out, and you're
Yeah,
like, how? Like, how did they not blow out that team? They're the Chiefs, right? Well, sorry, Chiefs. Not as people make you seem like you're great. You have just a great coach, and you have a great defensive coordinator as well. So don't get it wrong. That's why they're a great team. And quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. You got Travis Kelsey. You know what I mean? Like you have Pacheco as a running back. But at the end of the day, it comes down to how you win the game. Doesn't matter how. It's just that you do it. Because
yeah,
we're that close to an NFC Championship game, possibly back at SoFi, which would make the story even more incredible to come back there. But we need the Commanders' help too. So
oh yeah.
let's see what happens
They're
with that.
they're gonna shut down downtown LA if that happens. Um,
Whoo!
what was I gonna say? So we kind of touched on the defensive part already. Talked about Cardi. Yeah, my thing with Cardi, I think he's gonna have a big game. We actually talked about the food earlier than I wanted to. I totally forgot about that. Oh yeah, I got two questions for you. So let's say best case scenario. I know you've got the Rams picked to win it all this year, just like I do, because we're fans like that.
Since
Do you
before the
see? Do
season
you?
started, I think that it's
Oh,
because of the
same.
moves they
Yeah.
made. The O line, even getting Colby Parkinson, just kind of bulking up your roster, trying to, win the Super Bowl. Like I said, that should be every team's goal at the end of the day.
My only thing that's changed on mine is I kept thinking that it'd be Rams Chiefs. Like if I'm gonna trust one pair of coach and quarterback combo to stop the three-peat, it's gonna be McVay and Stafford. They have enough like just onions to do that. I think
Hmm.
now it potentially is Rams Ravens. I just think Lamar Jackson is playing too good. I see him
He's
going all
great.
the way.
He
Yeah, he's
deserves to be in the Super Bowl. I'm not gonna
phenomenal,
lie, he does. He deserves his
phenomenal, dude.
flowers. He's
Oh
crazy.
yeah,
Imagine him
but
as a quarterback for us in
but
the future. Just saying. Imagine that. It's just like so much movement, but you can't see that because we're not used to scrambling. You know what I mean? We're not used to that. We're used to
Yeah,
slinging. We like the slinging.
we've had stationary quarterbacks for a while, but Stafford can still run.
He showed that recently. He even had like 9 yards one of the games recently when he did that 9 yard run. So he can do it.
So if it does happen, right? I have a theory that we go deep enough that this may potentially, like, especially if there's a ring involved. Stafford wins a ring. I think he walks away. I think he goes home.
I actually was talking to some friends about this a few months ago. I'm like, so what do you guys think? I think Stafford winning the Super Bowl this year, he might most likely retire. You won 2 Super Bowls as a Ram. Look at his playoff record as a Ram too. January, February. What is it? Sorry, December, January, February record is insane.
I think he's 8-1 or 9-1. I think.
Or was it not 8? What was it? Was it that?
I
can't remember.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, yeah, with us,
crazy
he lost one last year to Detroit. That was it.
That was it. That's what I'm saying. Right now, like, it's just the match. Like, Sean McVay knew what he was doing when he wanted to let go of Jared Goff and bring Stafford in. He knew what we needed to win it, and we won it that same year. People don't give the Rams and McVay enough credit for that. He made it he did it for the city at the end of the day, for the organization.
So my logic behind all that, and it kind of puts a stamp on why I think no matter what trade or flaw that you want to point out in the Rams, like why they could lose any matchup.
Yeah,
it's a little bit long winded. There's 8 teams left. Every team is tough to beat. Like they've proven that by being here. Like it's hard to win games. They found ways to win games. The Rams are just as tough as anybody else. Also, that you're just underestimating. You can attest to this because you're a dad. Dude's got 4 kids and a family to take care of. You underestimate the abilities of a middle-aged, like, or a late 30s guy that is tired and wants to clock out of work and go home to his family. Like, you underestimate what he's capable of. I've seen how he's rolled into some games. Like, he looks like he's not prepared to clock in.
He looks like a dad. He looks like a dad. Literally.
And he shows up, drops 300, wins a game, and he just talks about, all right, yeah, we got to be better next week. I'll see you guys tomorrow. He just leaves.
See you next week. Yeah. That's
he loves
why
football,
I love him.
But he loves his family more. Yeah, I love that guy.
And come on, like, and if, of course, there's always the media that always says, oh, does Stafford really deserve the Hall of Fame card? I'm like, of course he does. You got to remember who he played for so long. That's why he couldn't do so much. The organization of Detroit Lions. I'm just saying.
A lot of Lions fans are revisionists, man. They don't like hearing that. They don't think they've done anything. They don't think the franchise did anything wrong to Stafford, which nothing wrong, but
no, it was
they're starting to like not be happy that he wanted to be out. It's like, come on, man.
Well, got to think, who wants to play for a team that doesn't go to the playoffs enough or wins games in the playoffs?
Or just
your goal is to win.
They were rebuilding. Yeah, they were rebuilding he'd been through a rebuild for 12 years. He didn't want one more. You can't be mad at him for that. But
he wanted to win a ring,
But all that being said, so we're on the same page with Stafford. Like, hopefully we win a ring. Hopefully he stays around as long as he wants to. The way I want to close this out, I appreciate all your time, dog. Like, I've never wanted to be the podcast that goes an hour and a half, but it's so easy to do with football. But I want to close out this way. Divisional round, every game, like, I'm excited for. We did our picks on Tuesday with Sheriff Joe Baggs. We're going to run through them again. I want to hear your picks from another Rams fan. So we're going to start on the AFC. I want to hear Chiefs-Texans. Who you got? You can throw in a score if you want to, or you can just pick head up, whatever you want to do.
All right. Well, my predictions before the season were either the Chiefs or Texans would face the Rams in the Super Bowl. So that's going to be a tough one because I got, you know what I mean? It's either one or the other that's going to continue. But I don't know. I feel like the Texans might.
Feeling upset?
I feel a little upset. So I think the Texans will beat the Chiefs 20-17. Like a 3-point game.
Ooh,
not a high-scoring game. The defense, both defenses are going to go off on each other. They have both great defensive sides. So, I think
defense did ball out last week. It's not that crazy because I know a lot of media has been talking about the bye week. It can create rust. It's just hard. It's hard to bet against Mahomes. I still am picking the Chiefs.
That's what of course.
I give him the Tom Brady treatment. Like all my life, like you tried betting against Tom Brady, and he just keeps winning. So I'm picking Chiefs and staying safe. You're going Texans. Let's go the other AFC game, which is like maybe matchup of the
Bro,
entire year.
this is a
Two
crazy game.
MVP. Yeah, the number 1, number 2 MVP guys, whichever way you cut it. I say they should get co-MVP because they're literally both that
They're both
equally good.
amazing.
Ravens, Bills in Buffalo. What do you think?
Buffalo Bills are going to take. I know a lot of people are saying Ravens, but you got to think they're playing in Buffalo at home,
Stuff.
and this might be the year that they actually reach the Super Bowl with Allen. I mean, and a lot of people are saying Rams, Bills, Super Bowl, a rematch of the season in the Super Bowl.
That would be fun. That would be fun.
I think Bills are gonna. In my head at first yesterday I was saying Ravens, but I'm like, you know what? I'm giving this to Buffalo a little bit more because it's at home for them, and their crowd's gonna show up. You already know that.
Okay,
and
so
it's
you
gonna be
got
snowing,
Bills.
I think, right? Snow game too.
I think it's gonna be a little bit. I think we get a little bit of. I think back to the Shady McCoy game for the Eagles in the snow where he just went off in the snow. I got the same feeling for Lamar and Derrick Henry. I think they're just too. I think
you
they're
can't
too much
stop
for.
them. You can't stop them. Yeah,
I think they're too much for most defenses. Shout out to Malik, one of my best friends, and big Baltimore Ravens fan. So I'm going Baltimore.
Baltimore.
Let's jump over to NFC.
We're going opposite on these bets.
We are. So this one we can touch on for a minute. So I know the Detroit Lions are such a wagon right now. We're quoting freaking Pat McAfee shit. They are literally a wagon. Like they're best team NFC, best record, and just they have that juju about them. Like same with like Mahomes. It's like you can throw 6 interceptions like you did in a game, Jared Goff. You can have a million penalties, but then somehow they win the game. They've got that dark magic about them. But then you got rookie of the year, Jaden Daniels coming into Ford Field. That game's going to be electric. What do you think?
All right. Well, I want the Commanders to win it. You already know why. Because if the Rams
I want that too. Yeah, I want that too.
Realistically,
partly.
You got to think. The Lions have been riding that train. It's not just this year. Also last year. They were really good last year. They were great last year. But this year,
a lot of injuries.
A lot of injuries, but yeah. I heard Montgomery's going to be back for this game, so they're going to have him and Gibbs, right, for the running back.
That's tough. Yeah, that's scary.
That's scary. And that's what I mean when you got the double-sworded monsters that are running on the field through you. But this one's hard. Of course, I want the Commanders because I'm tired of the Lions fan base with what they say and how they talk down on us, on everyone else, and that it's their year. Every year's their year. Anyway, I'm going to go with the Lions. Of course, I have to. Like, they're the better team overall compared to the Commanders, but Lions will... I want the Commanders, but the Lions will win in my opinion. But if that doesn't happen, I got no problem with that.
Yeah,
it's okay with the Commanders winning.
I'm okay with either one because obviously, like,
we want that rematch. I'm there, the Lions, no matter what.
Well, for the Commanders side, I'm there for that because I'd love to see what this defense can do against a rookie quarterback. But then also would be a home game for the Rams if the Rams win. NFC Championship game here in Los Angeles would be just phenomenal, crazy, and I want that
after everything that's happened. You know what I mean? Like what a great storyline. So
exactly, and then the other side, I think Stafford's at his best when he's got obviously as many chips on his shoulder as he wants to. Going back to right some wrongs in Detroit, I think he was very pissed after last year how it ended. I mean, played his ass off. They were one pass interference missed call away from still having another shot to go win the game. I think this team's a little bit better than we were last year, obviously, because we advanced. I would love to see that. I would love to see us go back to Detroit, right some wrongs. So I personally had Detroit. I'm not betting against them right now. I got Detroit.
No, I said Detroit too for this bet, but of course I would rather the Commanders win. But the Lions are a better team than the Commanders at the end of the day. Doesn't matter. But do you think Goff will be able to push through? I mean, he's been great, but it's playoffs.
As long as they don't beat us, like if for some reason we drop this round to the Eagles, like if I have to hope for another team to win just based on like fan base deserving it, things like that.
Lions, yeah.
Dude, the most fun version of a Super Bowl for me would be some variation of Detroit versus Buffalo or Baltimore. Like just
that's gonna be
having
good, yeah.
Having one of those two fan bases win their first one and then having Lamar potentially win his first, like it's just good for football. Like I just like
Yeah,
that kind of
it's
stuff.
a great
And
storyline,
then
you know.
and then last but not least,
Cool.
Rams, Eagles. So they go to Philly. It's tough. I know you're going to pick Rams win just like me. What do you think the score turns out? And then go deeper. Give me a prediction on how the game ends.
We were talking about it earlier. It's gonna probably be one of those games where we do need Cardi, depending on the weather. So it could
Mm-hmm.
be a field goal kicking game. Maybe Barkley doesn't go off because we were able to stop him. So it could be a back and forth with field goals, depending on, our defense and so forth. But for the score itself, I mean, of course, can't pick against the Rams ever. But either way, I still have a good feeling about this because if you look at the records between the Rams and Eagles in playoffs, who has a better hand in that? But
Yeah.
that is years ago. So either way, I say Rams win. They're gonna could be a 28-21 game Rams. I'm giving them to
Are
go
you going a whole
over.
touchdown?
Yeah,
I'm so I've on Tuesday when we had our joint podcast, I think I went like 24-20. The weather and my conviction to Cardi right now, I'm going even lower. I think we get like four for four out of Cardi and only one touchdown. And I think Elliott either misses a field goal or he only gets 3 attempts and they only get one field goal. So I think 19-16 Rams.
1916. Ooh,
And
I'll
I
take
think
that. Doesn't
and
matter.
I
Any
and I
W.
think I think the game ends around like midfieldish where they're trying to get in the field goal range and then we get a defensive turnover or a stop on fourth
Ooh,
down to end the game.
nah. Hey, I like to see that. Doesn't
Because
matter. A W is a
because
W. However you
I'm
play
thinking
that.
what version of this game is going to be the most frustrating for us Rams fans and the most heart attack inducing than relying on a rookie kicker and then hoping to stop him around midfield
I
from
know.
tying the game. Like how that would like keep you on edge the whole game. I'm like I can't imagine us blowing out Philly. So if it's gonna be a heart attack the whole time, it's gonna be something like that. So
Yeah, no blowout, but
I'm going low.
I'm giving the Rams that chance to have that one touchdown score lead. But I mean, that's just 28-21 for my opinion now, but like you said, weather. I feel like it's going to be a lower scoring game, but you
Yeah.
never know. It's football. It's the playoffs. It could be crazy. So, I'm looking forward to however the game goes as long as we win and we go
Yep.
to the NFC Championship because that's what the city of LA and the Rams deserve more than anything. And of course the Ramley, but the city of LA would like to see a little bit of life right now. So,
Oh
I feel
yeah.
like it could be something great for it. And there's not a lot of people here are fans of different teams, but when it comes down to something like this, I feel like it brings everyone together, you know.
Look
So,
at you, man. I feel like you are already a pro at podcasting because you're over here building natural transitions to my close or to my next topic.
no, no,
You
no.
you mentioned Los Angeles as a whole as a community. Obviously, everything's going on. There will be links below in the description for places like Los Angeles Fire Department, any humane societies, but then also like Red Cross Los Angeles if you guys want to
Red
donate.
Cross has been great.
Yeah, it'll be links will be down below if you guys like to donate to that. I am not affiliated with them, but I just wanted to share information as I come across it. Um, as we close out, man, anybody you want to give a shout out to? Any closing remarks for just Rams fans that you want to give out?
Like I said earlier, just shout out to the Ramley for showing up to Arizona, to showing out on the buses, to showing out for the city of LA, and for having a good time. It was a great time, great W, and the season continues, the playoffs continue, and who knows? I'm just ready for Sunday. I'm just ready for Sunday. Like I'm anxious, I think any fan is anxious for that game.
Can't
Like you
sleep.
just want to go to the next game, go to the next game, but let's not end the season until that Super Bowl. That's the way you want to end it. But of course, we have I think second or third youngest team in the NFL. So
I think second, yeah,
second.
behind the
So
Packers. Yeah.
but it's doable. Look at the Commanders; they have a rookie quarterback. So if they could do this,
Hey, dog. Hey, you don't gotta give justifications for your belief. You've been believing it for like 19 weeks already, man. Just
we got to,
keep that
bro.
conviction. But honestly, man, I appreciate your time today. I know we had some technical difficulties on my end getting set up, so I appreciate you
And me
being
too.
patient.
On mine too. That was my fault too. So
Appreciate you being patient. But no, on behalf of all Los Angeles Rams fans, you sir are getting like you need a nomination for some other fan of the year,
no,
something
no, no
for
nomination. Just want to support the Ramley. That's all it
hey,
is. Just support the
that's what
Ramley. So.
that's what it's about. If you're new to the Rams fan base, if you're trying to join the bandwagon, Ty is going to be in charge of applications since he's in charge of just everything else at this point.
I don't know. I don't know if I want to be in charge of the applications right now. I need a little break until after the football season.
But no, really, man, you're gonna have a special place in Rams lore when it comes down to looking back at in this moment in time in the McVay era. Thank you for everything that you did, getting those fans out there and collaborating. Shout out to Kelly Stafford, appreciate her and the family. That's awesome that you worked with Ty and Arvaldi. Yeah, that's all I got for you, man. On behalf of First and Tuna, thanks for.
I wanted to say thank you for having me on, brother. I hope to see you soon. All right, let's go Rams.
See you at the next one. Thanks, guys.